Welcome to Canada Blooms, Canada's Garden and Flower Festival. I'm Terry Caddo, the General Manager of Canada Blooms. We're very fortunate to have over 26 garden members from Landscape Ontario build these fantastic gardens at Blooms. We're also very lucky to have over 600 volunteers spend 20,000 hours making Canada Blooms the biggest garden and flower event in Canada and one of the biggest garden and flower shows in the world.
This is our No Place Like Home garden. It's a garden that tries to emphasize the importance of using outdoor spaces to really find yourself, to slow down and to embrace nature. We feature vertical walls, in this case filled with plants to help purify the air. We feature a range of succulents because the amount of time we invest in gardening is very important. So succulents help us to be resource responsible in terms of the amount of water that we use. This is our fourth garden space where we're emphasizing the importance of growing your own clean air. We emphasize a lot about growing plants outdoors, but we often overlook the importance of having plants indoors to purify the air. We've identified a number of NASA's top picks, for example, Sansevieria, Dracaenas, and the common spider plant, or Chlorophytum, as plants to help purify the air in your indoor environment. Let us remember the power of plants.
Well, Jody Liptrot, our landscape designer, designed it. We got a mix of natural stone and some borealis from Teco block, look like little planks. We did multiple levels to create a different feel. We have a lower level there, upper level here. We did like a floating fire pit, something a little different. We got a rain head in the middle, kind of to separate the two areas, the living room and the kitchen area.
About 3/4 of the way through the build, we needed to add an extra 4 feet. So we got about 22 to 2,300 square feet in the garden now. And it was awesome. It was amazing. I never expected to actually finish it. Tried to build a garden that is a little bit different, that everybody can enjoy. I mean, the family can come in, they can cook a barbecue, the kids can enjoy the fish in the pond, they can go for a swim. Parents can also enjoy the swim-up bar. So it's just a little bit different, kind of some of my own ideas.
This garden for Landscape Ontario Horticultural Trades Association was designed by landscape architect Sean Gallagher, and it's based on a word called otium, which is an ancient Greek word which means health and peace and being outside in nature, and interpreted here by exercise in the garden. Over 30 Landscape Ontario member companies came together to build this. The workmanship, I think, is fantastic. The carpentry, the walling, the paving, second to none. An absolutely fabulous job.
This is the Vandermeer Fairy Frolic Garden. We prepared it in a partnership with Vandermeer Nurseries. It's a 20 by 20 garden. It's filled with miniatures and also a giant troll. We try to bring back a little bit of childhood play to encourage people thinking on a smaller scale of gardening. We use some tropicals, the flowering crabapple trees that are almost done, but they're still quite colorful. Lots of bulbs, some perennials, things like that. So we created a lush, colorful environment that we hope that people would really enjoy.
So what we have here, we call this our Freedom line of greenhouses. So basically what we wanted to do is provide consumers with a hobby greenhouse that had a lot of the same features that commercial greenhouses have. So we have things like auto venting, auto watering. So again, all fully self-sustained greenhouses that the homeowner can set up in their backyard and enjoy all the same features that the full commercial professional greenhouses have. We can grow anything from any of your vegetables, fruits, flowers, hanging baskets, anything like that can be grown inside this greenhouse. Some vegetables you can get 2 cycles out of 1 season, so it really helps the family grow their own vegetables and not have to buy from Mexico, Ecuador, or wherever. And we know a lot of these vegetables, when they're picked before they're fully matured, they don't get the full vitamin development that they're supposed to. So we want to be able to help people eat clean, proper, healthy food.
This year we wanted to do a nighttime garden. And what we have exhibited is various water features, what we normally do in a nighttime setting with different lighting techniques throughout the different water features. We have some custom type of water features this year that are kind of one of a kind. The hanging bowl feature with the chains, that's been a pretty big hit so far at the show. We were fortunate enough to have won the Perry Molema Outstanding Use of Water Award and the SG Albright Award for Outstanding Medium Garden, which is a very, very nice honor.
Enjoy a glass of wine and dine with the sound of falling water and low lighting to set the mood. This feature garden was produced by Elite Environments, an Orangeville-based design and build landscape construction company whose clientele includes properties from Caledon to Toronto.
Outdoor kitchens are huge, huge. And we can put in barbecues, fridges, dishwashers, running water, exactly like you're inside. Granite countertops, fireplaces on the one end. They're just amazing, really. It's a shame we only have a few months to enjoy it, but it's a very, very big trend right now.
Any city right now can benefit from a very old technology, which is basically rainwater capture, slowing down rainwater on its way to the storm sewers. And so in our garden, we've partnered with the MOE and the Lake Simcoe Conservation Authority, and we have different examples of rain coming off of our roof structure. It's a big team building event for our crews, spending the 5 days together at a hotel down here, working on this as a team to put it together. Sometimes it's the only chance in the year that we have to all work together on one crew. And it's also a chance to explore new techniques.
My garden is sort of made up with the, keeping in mind the theme of Let's Play for this year's show. We looked at some abstract ways of looking at Let's Playing with nature. We've got a deer made out of cedar. We've got an antique canoe spill out here. Abstract way of looking at sort of the water coming out of the canoe rather than the canoe being in water. So we're just kind of playing a little bit with nature. Seems to be very popular here at the show.
So I designed these little bulbs, and they have different sort of plants in them. These things can be hung from your tree or on the top of the table. So I designed simple gardens, very low maintenance. We help you out with choosing the design and coming up with a plan.
Our designer decided to go with like an inside-outside design, bringing your indoors to the outdoors. I feel this year we've built a booth to suit clients. People coming in, they're taking a look, they can actually see themselves in this yard. So we really wanted to get something that the everyday person could have at their house. It's kind of like a staycation.
I was inspired to try and emulate a garden that would fit into a small downtown Toronto backyard, and I wanted to design where I can get some water in there. I got a little bit of everything in there. The garden I designed this year is 900 square feet, so really it's not a large space, but 900 square feet was just perfect. I think I fit everything in nicely, and I believe it's scaled properly too. So, and there's some really beautiful plant material that'll fit in a downtown Toronto area without overgrowing over the years that it's going to take over the space.
So Unilock Garden, it's really trying to emphasize that outdoor living space, seat walls, furniture, the full kind of backyard experience. Fireplace, kind of gas stove, patio for the whole family. Yeah, we sponsored the stage as well. So Unilock's kind of we've been an Ontario company for about 42 years now. So we've sponsored the stage. We're really standing behind Landscape Ontario and sponsorship. And we've actually given material for a lot of the various booths on display at Canada Blooms as well.
We always try to take a fairly contemporary view on gardens. We find a lot of the residential spaces are getting a little smaller, a little cozier. So we tried to recreate something that someone could actually have in their backyard. So mixing soft and hard elements, we try to do as much planting as we can, some water feature for interest. Instead of just paving the whole thing, doing some slabs and some stepping stones and some artificial turf. We're pretty happy with the garden. We've had great feedback from everybody. Everybody liking kind of the long linear lines. It's maybe a little more lush than the average backyard. It's got a lot of the same features, just maybe on a different scale.
The peace, harmony, and tranquility of a garden has become increasingly more important in the world today. This garden, entitled A Japanese Influence, was designed by James Garfield Thompson using layouts, structures, and plant materials inspired by his recent trip to Japan. J. Garfield Thompson Limited is a Toronto-based company with more than 30 years' experience creating distinct and beautiful landscapes.
This is the Canada Blooms Lounge. This has been designed so that the visitors of Canada Blooms can come and enjoy some of the gardens and then come into the lounge and relax and take a break, get refreshed, have a glass of wine or a glass of beer, and then get right back out there and see some other gardens. This lounge is designed so that there's a flow to it. I've incorporated a lot of furniture from a company called Inside Out, very modern, contemporary, comfortable. They also provided me with the umbrellas so that you still have a sense of enclosure. There's a really great collection of product in here. Lots of people involved to pull this together. This really is a Landscape Ontario lounge. Lots of people have participated in pulling it together.
It's our one and only time we do a pop-up
store slash feature garden. We basically condense our 1 acre glass greenhouse of tropical plants and we bring it to Canada Blooms so that people can see the breadth of tropicals available to them. We very rarely get to have the opportunity to directly engage with the consumer, so this is a fantastic chance for us to see the passion and enthusiasm for plants that still is out there, that I think people feels maybe untapped or it has waned a little bit. And what has really made an impression on us this year is the number of young adults and children who are really engaged and interested in tropical plants. It gives me hope for the future.
We're standing in yurta, and yurta is a contemporary version of a traditional Mongolian yurt. So everything that we do is right out of Mongolian tradition, but we're making a functional version that's really made for this climate. We're proud that this is made top to bottom here in Ontario. This is truly portable, something you put up in 2 hours. You don't turn a screw, you don't hammer a nail. So people will use them for a purpose, for example, as a pool house. But as things change, this is a structure that can be picked up, that can be moved. So yeah, for people, for example, who want to build a cottage and have a development plan on a piece of land that might last a couple of years, this is something they can be in to be on their land in the meantime.
Humber College landscape students designed 2 gardens featured at Canada Blooms. The first is a mini putt surrounded by colorful, hand-painted pots. The second Humber garden is laid out like a baseball diamond, with the base pads substituted for planters at first, second, and third.
This is my first time to do a feature garden. What I really wanted to achieve was to do a combination of plantings that are realistic in a garden setting. For example, most of the houses now are really tight, so that's why I've used a cupressina, I've used crimson spire oak, which they fairly narrow and tight, a lot of dwarf conifers. That was my goal, to incorporate those plant materials where it's more natural for a residential setting.
This interactive garden by Near North Hardscape was produced by Kim Costain and David Goodwin. The private garden features a giant clock covering a living wall, a fitting timepiece for a life-size chess set made with lightweight recycled plastic. It's the perfect setting for a score to be settled. As the crowds poured in to check out the garden, they hovered around this big, thrilling game of chess, a marathon match that lasted more than 1 hour.
So the mission of our company is to connect children to nature, and we do this all over North America. But the point is to connect them to nature when and where they play. So everything you see here is to get them to actually touch and feel and experience nature. How are we going to get kids off of this? And the way to get them off of this is not to tell them no. Telling a kid no has not worked in 20,000 years. So the way to do it is to actually make something more fun than this. So when you're here, you don't actually see kids on their iPhones. You see them climbing up and going down the giant slide, which is on top of an upside down tree that's 10 tons, or you see them playing on the tree mash, which is 2 trees squished together with ropes all over it, or the little hobbit house that's a hollowed out, cored out tree that goes in, or maybe the sand play, because the sand is actually really cool when you add water and troughs and shovels and real tools. So we end up mobbed at a show like this.
I hope you enjoyed your tour of Canada Blooms. I personally like to invite you back to 2016 to see the 20th anniversary of Canada Blooms. It'll be bigger and better than ever.